Welcome back to Hi-Tec Oil's Toowoomba Speedway for the final night of the Thunder on the Down series here in Queensland. We're just looking at Ian Madson's DTM number 4 car. They're about to load up. There's Ian walking over to his crew guys right now as they load up a smaller rig than they had last year. I'm not sure if they've got a bigger trailer or another trailer coming or what, but looks like they've got a rigid now, but they're about to load up. Another fun night here at Hi-Tec Oil's Toowoomba Speedway. In the end, it was Lockie McHugh who got his 4th win out of the last 6 feature races here for himself over Veal, and this car right here, Ian Madsen, ended up 3rd. We got a word with him. We'll speak to. We'll show you that interview a bit later. But let's start off with hot laps. It's not the same as loading up in the States. Everyone's got the big rigs low to the ground, and not everyone has that here in Australia. A little bit different. Get used to it, Ian. All right, hot laps, 12.1 seconds was the quickest I think we saw in hot laps, much quicker than last night. So not as slow and slick as last night, but also not as fast as the first week here. So track's forever changing. So we'll just take a slow walk through here, through the pits now. Qualifying, Veal, his car just looks perfect. I know I've said it a couple of times now, but he really just looks so nice. His car is just constantly settled and just doesn't look like it's out of place. The rotation of the car and just the balance of the car just looks like there's no bumps for him, like he's on a different racetrack. He ended up going quickest. He did a 10.9, which is 0.5 of a second, so just half a second off the track record, which feels very fast for drivers. I know from experience that you actually feel like you're going quite fast when you get that close to the track record. The bottom came in and through 3 and 4, and I saw McHugh. He was the first to try it, and there were teams rushing to tell the drivers, hey, make sure you try the bottom in 3 and 4. So we saw some of them do it. One of them that didn't was Brock Hallett, and I think he suffered a little bit, but I mean, he still ended up 5th. But again, those 2/10, you know, if he ran the bottom, who knows, he might have been quick time. There's Tate Frost. We're just looking at him there. He was only 18th in qualifying, half a second. Almost half a second off of the quick time there. So to end up 18th is certainly something that we did not expect to see from Tate Frost. What else? Oldfield, now he looked like he was going to rail the top, and I thought, man, he needs to get to the bottom. And on his second lap, he finally did go to the bottom in through 3 and 4, and didn't do too bad of a job, and he definitely went faster. So pretty cool shot there inside of the trailer there. There's Gavin White, commentator. See if we can get a word with these guys. Hey, Gav, can we get an interview real quick? Come out here. Not the driver. We're good.
He's the driver.
Hey, what do you think of this place, man?
Unbelievable, Toby. I think everyone's getting well aware of what Hi-Tec Oil's Toowoomba Speedway is now. I was here 12 months ago, or near on 12 months ago, for the Red Hot Summer Shootout, and just sat on the back stretch as a fan, and absolutely blown away. And then when the opportunity came up that we might have been able to make this weekend work, and Ryan Harris was more than accommodating, Sharon, Barry, everyone else involved has been amazing. It raced as I thought, Toby. You know, you've been selling this place as long as you've been coming here, so you're not surprised, and I think the rest of the world are starting to catch up, there's no question.
Yeah, for me, it's like, you know, I got a gig here, and of course I'm going to talk well about it, but I genuinely have loved this place since I raced here 10 years ago. But for someone like you from down south, I saw another official, Ian, from down in Victoria. He was here this weekend, and it feels like, you know, all the drivers and teams coming up, and fans obviously, and officials and all that, are coming to check it out for themselves, like you did in January, and say, hey, this place is actually legit.
And the obvious thing is courtesy of Dirt Vision and Sprint Car Hub. So we sit back as fans from 20 hours away south and watch this place, and you watch how it races, and I know in person, as you do, it's better than watching it on TV, right? And I mean that with respect. Clay Per View does such an amazing job, so too does Your Vision, to sell what we can see in real life. And we all know there is nothing like sitting here watching it live. So to come here now, and I think this is still only going to build and grow, and I was quick to say that to Ryan, I don't want to be that one that comes along when it's already a success. You want to be involved as it continues to grow and see it and experience it. And I felt like it was absolutely everything I expected it to be, and I had high expectations, let me tell you, because I'd seen such great racing here. But the talent that is through this field, and then to see what Lockie and Jamie and Ian Madsen again tonight. The field. How's the kids? Jai Corbett, Ryan Newton, Tate Frost from Tasmania. The kids that are in around that 21, 22, late teenage years, we're in such a good situation. I know we're only just talking about sprint cars, but you look all the way through the categories that they pump through, over 30 events in just a tick over 5 hours tonight. Hard not to be impressed, Toby. So yes, you just encourage everybody to get here, and it's going to continue to evolve and continue to grow, and it will sell out again in January. I've got no doubt about that. Already people off the back of this weekend looking at how they get here, how they make it happen for the Red Hot Summer Shootout, and encourage everybody to attend the USC rounds here too, because you know the local talent is just first class.
You've been talking all night, and I'm not sure how your voice isn't gone, but the time for talk is finally over. We better move on. Thanks, man.
Good on you, mate. Always good to be here. Good to see you too. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Awesome. Thanks, Gav. Cheers. All right, we better walk around. We'll leave him alone. We'll get back to our notes as we walk around. There's a few cars left. There's Libby Ellis over here, female racer, who does a good job. Good to see her. That's pretty cool from Gav. He's really, I mean, one of the main voices of Australian Speedway, isn't he? So, where were we? I think we pretty much finished off with qualifying. It was Veal on top in the end. Again, his car just looks so settled. Let's get into the heats now. There are only 3 heats tonight, not 4. So that means we took 5 from the heats rather than 4. So lock in those 15 cars, and then we took 5 more from the B main. Heat 1, it was Veal. We saw him changing the car up a bit before the heat, putting a bigger wicker bill. So drivers definitely making some changes going into the heat races as the track began to evolve a little bit. Didn't quite slicken off too much, I think, just because it's so slick. So we might work our way back towards the grid, and maybe hopefully you guys get a bit of a perspective of what this place is like. This is over the back of turns number 4 when you look up here and where the grid is. So we'll walk our way back over here now. But it was Veal actually didn't quite get the start. McHugh got the start in heat number 1. Tough heat. McHugh ended up winning that one from Veal, who went back to 3rd at the start. Harry Stewart was impressive, who got to 2nd actually at the start over Veal. But he just didn't move to the bottom quite quick enough. And in the end, it was Veal that got by there. So he found the bottom there. I think it was Marcus. He was only good enough for 6 in that heat. And Jock Goodyear only 4th. A tough heat. The current Australian champion 4th and not making the Stars Dash straight up. So heat number 2, it was Ian Madsen. He won that from Hallett, who was in a new car tonight. I don't think it was brand new, but a different car after his wreck last night. If you haven't seen our video from last night, definitely check that out, because you can see a bit of damage to his car there. Corbett, he was also in a new car because he got together with Hallett. He ended up 4th behind Kratzman in that heat number 2. Heat number 3 was Jordan Charge. Again, I love seeing him. That kid do well in this opportunity that he has in that 60 car. He won from Oldfield, who got close running the top and actually did a quicker lap time than Charge. So we're seeing 2 real even lines. I said all night in commentary, like, you just can't pick where you actually want to be on the track right now. You're going to have to move around. You're going to have to search. You're going to have to think about it. You can't just go out with a premeditated plan. You have to actually, think about it while you're out there. So I think that's why we got the result in the end that we did, and the smarter drivers were able to ensure that they stayed at the front of the field. Frost was 3rd in that one from Well, and Newton ended up 5th. So he just scraped in there to make the show. But we did get a couple of interviews just after the heat races. We spoke to Ian Madsen, who we saw from earlier, and we also got a chat with Brock Hallett about that new car he was in. So you go to the bottom in qualifying. Did you get word from your team to do something like that, or were you looking?
Just something I've been keeping an eye on since we've been here, and you know, it worked out. The first night we were here, and conditions were pretty similar, so just thought I'd give it a try. I got nothing to lose on the second lap, so I knew I couldn't do it on the first, but you know, can't really get the angle right, so I had to really try it on the second lap, and it worked out.
Track's a fair bit different tonight. What did you have to do with setup and also racing wise?
I just had to free the car up a lot. You know, I felt like we were too tight last night, even how slick it was. I kind of felt like we were rolled up. So just kind of made a swing at it today and really kind of freed it up, you know, kind of toward kind of like some old school stuff. So it seems to be working out so far, but it could change again. So we'll just go for the dash and see what happens from there.
tough competition, obviously. There's a lot of young kids here, locals and people that have travelled from pretty far to be here. This is pretty tough competition here in Australia, especially at this time of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, it's unusual for this early into the season for the competition to be this stout. And like you said, you know, every year I come back, there's 3 or 4 more kids that are pretty badass. So it's you can't underestimate anyone at the moment, especially here. And you know, it's with the Eastern Creek not being open, it's only going to be tougher fields everywhere we go because you know everyone's going to want to go racing. So you're going to have to be on your game, and I feel like we have the team to do it. I got to thank Darren Wheeler and Clinton McKenzie, and you know Darren gives me the best opportunity to do good, and Clinton works hard every year. So yeah, we'll just like you said, it's going to be tough. We'll just have a go and see what happens.
Hey Brock, took a decent hit last night. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, I just sort of got in there, pulled a slider on Corbett and probably went in a bit hard and just hooked the cushion and got the car airborne, and yeah, just sort of tipped it over. But bit of a nasty one, but got down the spare car last night, so we could run again tonight.
Track's a fair bit different tonight. Can you take us through what changes you guys make and how you drive different?
Yeah, it's obviously, it's sort of, it's got a lot more water in it, but it's kind of like greasy. It's really hard to get a hold of, and probably struggling a little bit trying to get on top of it. So we'll make some more changes in this dash coming up and try and get, the car better.
Does this car feel the same or different?
No, they all feel pretty much the same. We've run this car before, so yeah, no, they're all pretty similar, and we have our basic setup that we sort of put into any car.
All right, we're out on the track here. We're over in turn number 4. I think we showed a bit of this stuff last night, but we didn't quite go as in depth. But yeah, the track is completely different to what we saw last night. It's also not as cold. I was wearing my hoodie, and I'm actually not that cold. It's actually quite nice tonight. But yeah, this track's still quite heavy. They really ripped up the track early or late last night that you would have seen in last night's video, just to ensure that the track didn't go away as much. But I think with the skinnier rear tyres of the other classes, like are they production sedans, those sedan classes? I don't know, I'm not an expert with those things, but they've got skinnier tyres, and what they do is they create these lanes in the track where bumps really all the way throughout. So bit of a different track tonight, a lot more moisture in it, and like I said, a little bit rougher as well. So definitely had to be thinking as a driver the whole time you're out. But yeah, let's take a walk around anyway. We'll get into the mid-pack dash. That was the next race for the sprint cars. It was Goodyear from 4th to 1st by the back straight on the first lap around the top. So through 1 and 2, goes from 4th to 1st. Really impressive job there. I'm not really surprised, to be honest. The other Tasmanian, Frost, got to 2nd, and those 2 cars transferred to the Stars Dash. 8 cars in that one. Ian Madsen led that one early. McHugh just seemed to move around a little bit better and really just chased him down. It kind of looked like either way, I think Ian was going to get passed by McHugh. He just looked too good. In the end, it was McHugh, Ian Madsen, Jordan Charge, again doing an incredible job, Veal, Goodyear, Frost, Oldfield and Hallett. What a lineup, seriously. I said this in the last night's video, but it's just such a good lineup here in September. Goodyear made the most progress, really, after coming from the mid-pack dash. So made it up a lot of spots. So similar to Veal last night, getting to 3rd, Goodyear ended up 5th. So not a bad starting spot after not transferring straight to that Stars Dash from the heat races. The B main, it was really 2 even lanes now. So if we just stop there, we could really, when I was looking at the track, I wasn't sure if like the top was going to be better, the bottom's going to be better. You just really could not decide where you needed to be. But yeah, you just had to think about it while you're out there. So the B main, after those dashes, and again, it was just only got colder. So yeah, I just wasn't sure what to expect with the track. So as the racetrack developed, yeah, these guys had to think about what they were doing. One thing that did happen in the B main was Alex Orr. He spun off of turn 4 or midway through turn 4, and he was collected and took a decent dump in the end. Goes to show you how slick the center of the track was when he was sliding up the track a little bit of over rotation with the rear tires, and ended up half spinning and getting collected there. Marcus won that one, again taking the top 5, so it was Dylan Menz in 2nd, then James Kennedy, Adam Butler and Trent Vardy was the final transfer. Only 3 heats, yeah, so it took 5 from that B main. Then it was time to look at this track. Yeah, see, I mean, I'm not sure if it shows up well enough on camera, but I mean, like, look at this stuff. These guys have to move that. Like, that's heavy, man. You know, so really think about it. If I'm in the race car here, right, my right rear is just out here, and I come through here. This is tacky stuff. This is good. That's where you want your right rear. If you take one step to the right, your right rear is now in all of this stuff and unsettled. And when the car wants to bike up track, next thing you know, the wall's only here, and you're getting into it. And we saw that huge wreck from Talia Appelt last night. She didn't end up running tonight because she wasn't cleared by the doctors. But that's how treacherous this track is. Again, bumps leading up to it, the messy cushion there, lanes through out here, a slick middle, the bottom's hard to get. I mean, just so much going on throughout this race, this racetrack. So in the feature, it was Veal who got a really good start. Where was he? Where did he come from? He came from 4th. So he went basically straight to 2nd behind Madsen. McHugh dropped back to 3rd. Ian led the first 10 laps or so, maybe a few more, before McHugh took the lead. Again, just looked a bit better than Ian, similar to the dash. The top and bottom, again, just seems so even. I couldn't pick it. I did a little segment before the feature race started on Clay-Per-View, and I'm like, hey, I really don't know what to expect here. The only thing I can make sure of is that whoever wins is going to have to move around. At one point we saw Jock Goodyear, who we had cameras on all weekend. We got a video coming up very soon, which I'm really excited to tell you all about. But he ended up clobbering the inside wall, entering turns 3 and 4, and taking out the front end, not completely, but not good enough to keep going. And then he rolled around the track for what was like 3/4 of a lap. And it was like, why is there not a yellow right now? And we could all see it. And then eventually coming in, trying to turn the car in just here, as you can see, trying to turn the car in here off turn 2, he struggled. And as he came down the track to chuck that hard left, it was Corbett who came along and ended up collecting him. And they ended up both being out of the race. So that was pretty unfortunate. I mean, officials miss things sometimes, so I don't want to sound too harsh on them. But yeah, it was unfortunate that that wasn't taken care of earlier. Traffic, at one point there was, I got a note here about traffic. At one point there was traffic in like on one half of the track, and the other half of the track there was just like no cars at all. It looked like a parking lot, as if they were almost gridding up in the end. So it got very, very busy for McHugh trying to work his way through. And I even had a few people tell me, hey, if I was McHugh, I probably would have gotten into a few of those cars and tried to move them out of the way. But he navigated his way through. Honestly, it definitely was not perfect by him, but in the end he did what he needed to do and kept Veal away. At some point there would have been 2 or 3 cars in between. At one point Veal was right behind him. So yeah, struggle on a track like this. I wrote on our socials post just earlier today, you know, the wall is so close. On the inside wall, the egg-shaped track, the banking, just there's so many factors about this racetrack that just ensure that you just don't get a moment to breathe. And I think it's something that we don't talk about enough, is that these drivers are just so intensely at it all the time, just on the wheel. I'm not surprised seeing them. Some of them come in for their interviews and they're running out of breath. What else have we got here? Madsen came strong towards the end. We had a restart with about 4 to go. McHugh didn't block going into the first corner and actually decided to carry that momentum. And honestly, I guess that's what won him the race in the end. Veal's restarts were just not great all weekend, really. When he was behind McHugh last night, he still won the race in the end, but he just couldn't quite, make the most out of him and do something into turn 1. So McHugh's car was just taking off really well. That means that engine is very finely tuned to be able to do that. In the end, it was McHugh who took a bit of a lead over those last 4 laps. He won narrowly over Veal. Veal definitely wasn't any slower. He just wasn't in front, during those laps. Madsen, he closed but ended up 3rd. McHugh, that was his 4th win, like I said earlier, in the last 6 races here. Pretty impressive, and obviously we saw Jamie Veal win earlier this weekend. So it's between those two guys. I think over the last 5 years, the opening race has been between McHugh and Veal. So it goes to show you those guys and their dominance that they have over this place. But we did get an interview with Ian Madsen after the feature race, and here's what he had to say. Looked pretty good early, and then kind of dropped back a bit, and What do you think?
You know, it was a great night, really. I feel like that's the best we've been with a race car all week. You know, we made a lot of changes during the night, and you know, I'm just trying to get my rhythm back. I didn't race a whole lot in America, and it's been a bit of an adjustment out here to get used to the cars out here. So it was a great night, and yeah, like you said, we got the lead early. I knew Lachlan was going to be deep tough. Him and Nick, they're always incredible around here. So, you know, to get beat by them is nothing to hang our heads about. And same as Jamie. And just a good night. Just need to thank Darren from DTM Motorsport, Clinton and Jamie, and we'll come back next time and try again.
Yeah, I liked what Ian had to say there because he could have been a bit negative about it running third. I mean, there's the guy, like I said in last night's video, the only guy who's won an outlaw race in this entire field, a stellar field. And as he pointed out earlier, there's so many young kids every time he comes back home. There's just more kids that are faster. They're usually younger, like Newton and Corbett and Frost. They're also young. Charge is young as well, doing an incredible job. And he's got a battle with those guys, trying to be a professional race car driver. So I think Ian had the right attitude after that. But good way to wrap up. Really hope that you guys all enjoyed that sort of stuff. We're out on the track right here right now. It is about 20 to 11, so we're doing this video a bit earlier than last night. But this is what I wanted to show, is how technical this track is. It's not, I don't know if sometimes technical is the right word, because it really is just a round shaped bit of dirt. But there's all these things the drivers have to try and navigate their way around, and it's not that they can't get around at all. It's just you got to do it the fastest way possible. And hitting these bumps and ridges in the track that I think are created by the skinny tires and the moisture that the track curation team tried to get in the racetrack, that means that cars have to battle with this sort of stuff. So they're sliding up the track, their right rear's hitting this, the car's getting unsettled. Again, a car like Veal does an incredible job where it doesn't seem to unsettle the car too much. So the crews are definitely busy with trying to get it all right, and the drivers have to get the right turning point, the right amount of turn, the right setup, all those things throughout 30 laps. Have to, you know, as the track is evolving throughout the night, or in one session, they have to get it all right. So the track is quite tacky here. We can see a little bit dry, slick patches here a little bit. There's just stuff going on everywhere here. Yeah, so just I love this place. I hope you guys have had a great time checking it all out and watching this video. Thanks so much for the support. We sold a bunch of merchandise here. It's a great vibe. We can't wait to be back here. I think, in a month's time or something. We may even be coming back to Queensland in a couple of weeks' time. We'll hopefully have some news for you guys in the next few days about that. But other than that, thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.